yesterday we talked about the constraint. There are few more constraints that we need to discuss today. So yesterday, as I said, we covered up all the not. There are three different categories of the constraint that we have in SQL Server. One is domain integrity constraint, and another one is the entity integrity constraint, and another one is the referential integrity constraint. So in domain integrity constraint, we will be having the not null check and check constraint and default check. Also, we gone through the all the practical sessions of all these things. We created a table and we also inserted a data with a not null data and tried with the check constraint also, which is salary less than greater than 10,000, and also default values. I set a values as a Bangalore. Hello. Yeah, what happened? Okay. Okay, so we discussed about all these three constraint about yesterday, and also we discussed the what is the primary key and what is the unique key. Also we discussed, and also we discussed the kind of little bit of a foreign key also. Today we can start on the practical sessions of the primary key and unique key and foreign key in detail. Also, I covered up the identity column and the relationship how the data will be incremented with the seed and corresponding increment values as well, right? So now start with the unique constraint. So what is unique constraint? As I said, unique constraint is a constraint or a rule that will be defined over a table or a database, which will example, if you create a particular column on a table, it will allow only the unique values entry into that particular column in the table. It never ever allow you to input any duplicate values into that column or the table. And also, the only difference between unique key and primary key is, at least in the unique key constraint, it will allow one null values entry into that particular column in the table. But in case of a primary key, it never ever allows any null values at all into that particular column in the table, right? Only the thing is, it will, and also it will not allow any duplicates. That is the only difference between unique key and primary key. And second one, we can also place one or more unique constraint on a table, right? So whenever we define a primary key, we can define only one primary key with a multiple columns, or a single column is possible. But in case of unique key constraint, you can place one or more unique key constraint on a single table itself. That is possible. Okay. And it places automatically unique key non-clustered index. Whenever you create a unique key constraint on a table or a column, it will automatically SQL Server generates the non-clustered index also. Whenever we cover the indexing part, we will cover what is the cluster index, non-cluster index, all those details. But just remember now, if there is a unique key that gets created on the table or a column, then automatically SQL Server will generate the non-cluster index for that particular column on the table. That is also mandatory. Okay. So that's about the unique key constraint. And the syntax for the unique key constraint is column name and the corresponding type. What is the type? Unique. And then you need to mention the column name and the type is unique. Like that, the syntax goes, right? So example, there is a account number column that is present in the table. Then how you need to mention the unique key constraint on a table or a column? Then you have to mention the column name, in this case account number. And what is the data type of account number? Integer. And then what is the column that is going to define? It's a unique column, right? So syntax will be account number, integer data type with a unique key constraint. That's how you need to define a unique key constraint, if at all, if you want to define a unique key on the table or a column, right? Example, place a unique key constraint on PID column for the product table, if that is the requirement. So I asked you to place a unique key constraint. There is a one column called PID in the products table. There is a product table. In the product table, there is a column called PID. For that column, I asked you to place a unique key constraint. Then how you gonna achieve it? Let's learn it. So there is a product, right? Products table. Where is the products table? Let's check it out where this is there. So this is currently in which table? me check it. Human resources having product table? I don't think so. Adventure works might be. There are a lot of things in this. So, 1 minute. I'm just checking the table where this is getting exist currently. If not, we can create also. That is another case. But I'm trying to see where it is currently. Okay. So not sure. So let's execute. So invalid, right? So let's execute in human resource. Invalid. 1 minute. I'm just checking. Here it is. So in my local, there is already product table is exist. If you see right, the product table which I created in the school, my local database, which is having a columns PID, P name, product name, quantity, and what is the CP is the what is the I think I created just like that. CP and SP. There is another column. So I created this table which is having the products and then the corresponding columns on that. Now the requirement is for this product table, there is a column called PID. As I said, for that PID column, I asked you to put a unique constraint definition on that. Then how we can achieve it? So we have a alter table, right? So table which is already created and you want to define something else with the altering the table. There is a already I explained you in the DDL, there is a alter, drop, truncate. All these are the comes under the DDL where you can make the changes, right? So on the definition of the table, right? Alter table products is the table name where you want to add a constant. Add what? You want to add a constant, right? The syntax will be add constraint and give the constraint name, that is unique underscore PID, and the type is the unique type and the column name is PID. So if you write like this, so you will be currently, if you see right, let me check it. SP help, SP underscore help, the products table. What it will show, whether it is having a unique key or not, that it will show, right? See here, currently unique key is there, right? Unique key is already defined and it is already showing up. But let me drop this so that I can place again and show you how we can define, right? So I'm dropped that constraint. Okay. So when I'm dropped that constraint, it will not show uniqueness on that column. See, if you see right, currently you will be having a check constraint on the CP column, quantity column, and the default also defined already. But there is no unique key that is defined on PID column. Okay. So now my requirement is I want to place a unique key on the PID column. How we gonna do that? As I said, alter table products is the table name, add constraint name, that is unique underscore PID, which is unique type, and on the column called PID, right? So if I execute that, when I run the SP help again, you will be able to see the unique key that is going to define on the column called PID. Let's try it out. See, command got successfully executed. Let's check it out. Go back and have a check on that. See here, if you see right, unique underscore PID non-clustered, which is the column called PID, is got completed. And also unique key here in the last sixth row. If you see right, unique key with a non-clustered. As I said, whenever you create a unique key, automatically SQL Server will generate the non-clustered index also. That's why you are able to see the index name here, right? But unique key, where it is defined here in the constraint type, there is a constraint called unique type constraint. The constraint name is unique underscore PID, which you defined on the column called PID, right? So that's how you can implement a unique key constraint on the table which is already created, and by using the alter table concept, you can implement the unique key constraint on the column of the table. Okay, so that's how we are able to insert the data, right? And also if you see the SP help text, right, if you see here, so currently I defined a check constraint on this, right? Yesterday already we discussed, but a little more insights we can take it on today as well, right? So in the check column, on the CP column, we put a check constraint. So whatever the values which I'm going to insert into CP table always should be greater than 0. Similarly, in the quantity column, always quantity values which you are gonna insert should be greater than or equals to 0. That is the check constant rule that I put on the column called CP and quantity. Similarly, on the column SP, I already put a check constant which should check the SP should be greater than 0, right? And also at a table level, I put a check constraint, right, where SP should be greater than CP. That means whatever the values that you're gonna insert into SP column should be always greater than CP. If you are insert anything less than this SP value, it will throw error that there is a constant that is placed on the table level where you cannot insert the value. And also default column that you defined on the column called, which column you defined? You defined on the quantity column. The default value, if you are not passing any values to the quantity column, the default value will be inserted is 10. Just like in Bangalore, right? How if you are not passing any values to the table of that particular column, which is defined with a default, right? Automatically SQL Server, which is defined as the default one, will show the value of Bangalore. That's all. That's how it is gonna. In the last one, I just altered with a unique key non-clustered one, which will be always allow you to insert only the unique value, and it will not allow you to enter any duplicate values, and also it will allow single null value. It never allow you to insert multiple null values. So let's try it out. As I said, the CP should be greater than 0 and SP also should be greater than 0. All these things will be inserted now. Let's check it out. See, all the check constraints are valid here, which I defined. That's why I'm able to insert. Similar case, the second one, the first one I'm passing it as a null, right? Which is the first column. Let's check it out, right? So PID is the first column, which is the nullable S column. So if you pass a null values for this particular PID column, it should allow you to insert because nullable defined as a S on this particular column, and also it is a unique key that is defined on this column. As I said, key column will allow the unique values, and second thing, it will allow only single null value. If you try to insert any duplicate values and multiple null values, it will not allow, right? In this case, I'm trying to insert a null value to the PID, whether it will insert or not. That is the check that I'm going to do. And also CP, SP and quantity, always I ask to insert greater than 0. And also one more clause I said is SP should be greater than CP. SP is what? SP is the fifth column in this, right? Whatever the value that you gonna insert into SP column should be always greater than CP, that is fourth column, right? In this case, if you see, right, 102, which is the fifth column, that is nothing but SP is greater than the 101, which is CP, fourth column. So it will allow you to insert the value because you are passed the unique constant, you passed the greater than 0, you passed the greater than 0 and also greater than 0, and also you have a clause that last column SP greater than should be greater than CP, which is fourth column. Fifth column value should be greater than fourth column value. Let's try it out whether you are able to insert or not. So one row got affected. If you run the select on the product, you are able to see the both the rows that got inserted. See, right? Now I'm changing little bit. I'm trying to insert one more null value into the unique key column. It's against to the rule, right? Because unique key column will allow only single null value. It never allows the two null values or multiple null values into the column. That is the concept of unique key, right? So let's try to insert this value, whether you are able to insert or not. We will check it out. See, violation of unique key constraint, unique underscore PID cannot insert a duplicate value into product. So unique is what? First of all, it will not allow any duplicate values, and if and also second thing is it will allow only single null value. So I already inserted a single null value into the table, and you are trying to insert one more row with another null value, which is duplicate value. It's not possible. The constraint will throw an error saying that the rule that you defined on the table is going against to the rule that you are trying to insert. And the last one is, so you are entering the one value, right? One is already present in the table, I guess. Let me check it out. Yes, one is already present, and you are trying to insert one more one to the PID column, which is duplicate. It will not accept because duplicate values will not be allowed into unique constraint columns. See, violation of unique key constraint. Duplicate values on the product table will not allow you to insert a values. That's how the unique constraint. So unique constraint, what you need to understand, it will allow only unique values, no duplicate values. It will allow single null values. It never allow you to insert any multiple null values. We can place one or more unique constraint on the table, and if you whenever you are adding any unique key constraint on the column, automatically SQL Server generates the non-clustered index corresponding to that column. That is the holistic understanding of unique key column, right? Now, second thing, primary key. What is primary key? Primary key, the difference, as I said, between unique key and primary key is only one. As primary key is also never ever not accept the any single null value also, it will not accept. That is the first thing. In unique key, at least it allowed one null value, but in primary key, it will not allow single null value also. And also in primary key, it never allow you to insert any duplicate values, just as is of that the unique key constraint. And the table can consist of only one primary key at a time, but in case of unique key, multiple unique key constraint that you can define on the table. And whenever you create an unique key constraint, by default SQL Server generates the non-clustered index. But in case of primary key, whenever you are creating a primary key on a table or a column, by default SQL Server will generate the cluster index on that particular column. Okay, it maintains the rows in the sorted manner. I mean to say, whenever you insert a rows, it will be in a sorted manner, either in ascending or descending. Usually it's in ascending manner. It will sorts the data and stores into the column. Okay, and the pk is equal to unique key constraint plus not null. As I said, it's always allows only unique values. It will never ever allow the single null value as well. So that's the understanding of pk, primary key. Okay, we can place pk one or more than column which consists of the primary key composite. I mean to say, there is a in the products, right? In the product table, you will be having 3-4 columns. Okay, and you want to define a primary key on the table of those columns. Okay, you can consider only one column as a primary key, or you can club 2-3 columns in the table together and form the one primary key, right? That is possible. That is called as composite primary key. Okay, and composite primary key can be placed on maximum 16 columns. Whenever you are clubbing and forming a primary key column, okay, whenever you are clubbing a multiple columns together and you are forming a primary key, maximum number of columns, how many can be allowed? Only 16 columns can be clubbed together and form a single primary key. Okay, that's the theoretical understanding of primary key. Now we will try to learn how we can understand this primary key. Okay, I just dropped the account ledger table. I'm creating one account ledger table where my account number is the primary key column, which is the integer data type, and AH name is another column where varchar 30 is the not null constraint which I have defined, and there is an amount balance column which is the data type of money, and I am putting a check constraint saying that amount balance column should be always insert a value greater than 0. That is my check constraint. And the last one is branch, which is the varchar type, and the 40 is the character data type. if I create this table, automatically, if I do the account ledger on the help sp help text, what you can understand is you can see primary key that is defined, and also check constraint that is defined, and also all the schema objects of that table you can see. See here, you are able to see primary key. Whenever you are creating a primary key, automatically it will create the cluster index also, as I said. That's the reason you are able to see the cluster index also created account whenever you created a primary key, right? And the column that is got created for the primary key is account number. And also I put a check constraint on the amount balance column, where I said that amount balance entry of the column should be always greater than equal to 0. That is the clause of the check constraint that I put on this column, right? So that's the theoretical understanding. And also I defined as the AH name value should be always not null. It cannot accept any nullable values. So if you see, right, AH name which is nullable, no, because I already defined not null column for that column. Okay, now if I insert any values, one Amit as the AH name, account holder name, where the amount balance is 6,000, and this branch is Bangalore branch, right? And also if you see the amount balance is always greater than 0, it will allow, and branch is Bangalore, it will allow. Okay, and AH name, that is nothing but account holder name, is not null, so you are passing Amit, it is not null value, so it will allow. And also account number, you are passing it as a 1, which is a unique value, which is the primary key column, it will allow. Try to insert the data. See, one row got affected. If I run the select on that, you will be able to see the data that got inserted on account ledger table. Okay, there is already present here. If you can run this, see here, 1 Amit 6,000 Bangalore branch. Similarly, 2 Ajit 6,000 HVR. All constraints are getting passed here. You will be able to insert the second row as well. See, it got affected. You can run through and see both the records now. See here. But the third point, now you are passing a null value to the you are trying to pass the null value to the primary key column, which you defined as account number, and you are trying to insert all other conditions are fine, but this condition you are trying to insert the null value, single null value also will not allow into the primary key. I told you, right? So you are trying to insert the null value, it will throw an error, say that primary key violation is happened, where you cannot insert a null value into primary key column that is defined in the table. See, cannot insert the null value into the column account number table Michael Doe so and so table name column does not allow null values because it is a primary key column. So that's the understanding of primary key, right? So that's it about the primary key. It will allow the null, sorry, it will not allow single null value also. It will not allow duplicates also. Whenever you are create a primary key, automatically primary key creates the cluster index on the table, and cluster index can be placed, and it maintains the row as a sorted manner always. And also we can place a primary key on more than one column, but not more than one primary key, but you can club 2-3 columns together, you can form a primary key that is called composite primary key, and maximum number of columns that you can club and form the composite primary key is 16 columns. The last part, what is foreign key? As I said yesterday, I explained you already, foreign key always helps to create the relationship between one table to another table, just like parent-child relationship between the normal families, right? So whenever there is an employee table and there is a department table, you want to understand what are the employees that are working under which department. Then you need to have the relationship between those two tables. Whatever the primary key that is present on the main table of employee can get into as a foreign key in the other table of department as a foreign key. So that whenever you are trying to get the details of employee departments together, you are able to get the relationship with the data and you are able to see the data, right? So drop if there is any deposits table that is present. So I am dropping. Okay. And you are creating a deposits table where account number is there with the integer data type. So there is already table that I create as a account ledger, right? There is a table already account ledger where it is having the data, right? Now I want to see what are my deposits to the corresponding account ledger columns. So I'm creating an account number column again in the deposits table, which is the foreign key column, right? In the account ledger table, the primary key column is account number, which is the foreign key in the deposits table, to build the relationship between account ledger to my deposits. Okay, that's the understanding. And amount, money, and what is the date of deposit. So default value will be get date. If you are not passing any values to this particular date deposit column, the default value it will take it as get date. Get date is nothing but whatever the date today that is present, 25th. Sorry, today's date is 11th, right? It will take as the today's date as a default. So now if you try to insert a account number and amount values, if you insert, it will allow you to insert, right? It will allow, because the thing is already account ledger is here. In the account ledger, if you see, right, account number 1 is present, account number 2 is present. Account number 2 is Ajit's account. Ajit is having amount balance of 6,000. The branch is HVR, right? So similarly, whenever he insert amount value in the deposits, right, he in the deposit there is amount that he gets deposited into the amount, right, in the deposits table for the account number 2 itself. That means whatever the account number 2 is here with Ajit 6,000, for this account itself in the deposits, one again 6,000 will be deposited. See here, invalid object name, sorry, something is gone wrong. Okay, I'm not created this table, that's why it is feeling like that. So I created this table, I'm trying to insert the value. Now it should get inserted. It got inserted. If I run the select on this deposits together account ledger, if you see here, right, account number 2 Ajit 6,000 in HVR branch is again deposited. Some deposit amount is 6,000 on the date it took. Since I'm not passed any values to the date deposit, default value is get date. Get date is nothing but 11th, today's date. It automatically took and got inserted. So you are able to build the relationship between these two tables, right? Similarly, if I try to insert account number 3 6,000, you will not be able to insert. Why? Because there is no account number in the parent table. 3 is present. I say this, the understanding here is, as I said, primary key to foreign key relationship, how it happens is, if there is a parents that are present, they only can have a child. Okay, there are parents that are present, they only can have a child, but child cannot make the born of parents, right? So child is born and he is present only because of the parents, right? Because of the child, parents are present. It's not the other way around, right? Only the way is the child is came to earth only because of the parents, right? If parents are not there, then the child would have been not born. Similarly, in the parent table, account ledger table, there is no account called as 3. So your account itself is not there in the bank, but for the account which is not present in your bank, you are trying to deposit some amount which is not possible. There is no account only in the bank and you are trying to some deposit some money, which is throws error that there is no account called as a 3, right? So that's the understanding of primary key to foreign key. So in the foreign key table, in the deposits table, you are trying to insert some deposit some money which is account number 3. Account number 3 6,000 you are trying to insert, it will throw an error that there is a referential integrity failure of foreign key which you are created on deposits table will be failed, because there is no parent record that is present in the account ledger table where I can insert the corresponding child relationship column values into deposits table. That's the understanding. See, insert is conflicted with the foreign key constraint because there is no parent table is not having a record of account number 3 in the account ledger table itself. That's the understanding of primary key. There is no child record get inserted into table unless it is there in the parent table. But if you are trying to insert, okay, if you are trying to insert 1, right? One account number 1, you can enter as much as you want, 8,000. You are trying to deposit some more money into account number 1, it will allow, because there is already account number 1 and 2 is present in the parent table, that is nothing but account ledger table, so it is allowed. But when you are trying to insert other than 1 2, it will throw an error that say that you are not authorized to insert this because parent table itself is not present. That's the error that comes up with the foreign key. Okay, so that's the understanding account ledger to deposits. So that's the understanding of your foreign key also. So we got to know today, we got to know unique key constant, you got to know what is primary key constant, you got to know what is foreign key constant, how does all these works together in the practical sessions also you learned together. Please go back and try yourself with the understanding of all these constant parts and try to execute all everything together so that, and create more examples for yourself and understand better knowledge of it. If there are any questions, please ask that so that we can go ahead and clarify them. Any questions from anyone? Or you got understood, at least you got understood what I'm trying to explain, all these constants and everything? Any questions from anyone?
Yeah.
You got to know, I mean, you understood whatever I'm trying to explain? Or any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
ಸರ್, ಈಗ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್.
Okay.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್.
Okay.
ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಗೆ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು ಸರ್.
ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. Only the parent child relationship should be proper. In that case, your department table into parent table ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, employee table will be your child table. Whatever the primary key that is present in the department number will be referenced as the child relationship. So there is no, if there is no employee, then there is no meaning of if there is no department, then there is no meaning of employee, right? Like that. Basically the understanding that you need to have is, whenever you are creating a, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನೀನು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಕೀ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಕೀ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ಗೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಿನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಅಕೌಂಟೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಾಗ ನಿಂದ ಅಕೌಂಟ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಂದ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಬಂದ್ರೇನೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಟೇಬಲ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದ್ರೇನೆ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬರಕ್ಕಾಗೋದು, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ವೈಸ್ ವರ್ಸ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಕತ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್, if there is account number, then only you can do the deposits to that account number. If there is no account number and you are trying to do the deposit to that account number which is not present in the parent table, then there is no relationship between your parent to child. So either you create department or employee, there should be some data relationship between, it should be meaningful also. So that's the understanding you need to have. If the parents is there, then only child should be present. Okay, you got to know. Anybody has any other question? If not, have a good evening. Thank you all. Okay.